The dinner rush had already begun when Ion adjusted his black apron and stepped out from the kitchen doors, balancing a tray on his hand and exhaustion in his eyes. He had worked double shifts all week, but tonight felt heavier than usual. Maybe it was because his 8-year-old son, Zayn, had called twice from home asking when Dad would bring milk for the next morning. Maybe it was because rent was overdue again. Or maybe it was because every customer tonight seemed a little more demanding, a little less patient, a little less human. Still, he kept smiling. He always did. The world didn't owe him kindness, so he tried to offer it first. Table 6 just got seated. His manager barked, "Vip, don't screw it up." Ion nodded, wiped his hands on his apron, and walked toward the private booth near the window. Through the dim amber lights, he saw a tall man in a navy blue suit, his posture sharp, his expression unreadable. People didn't need introductions for this one. Everyone in the city knew him. Karim Halim, billionaire investor, owner of 3 international companies, a man who bought failing corporations just to revive them the way someone else might rescue dying plants. A man who had been on every financial magazine cover for the last 5 years. A man who probably had more money in his pen than Ion had earned in a decade. And yet there he was, seated alone at a wooden table, typing something rapidly on his phone. Ion approached quietly. "Good evening, sir. My name is Ion. I'll be serving you tonight." The billionaire didn't look up. "Water, room temperature, no lemon." "Of course." Ion hurried to bring it, setting it down gently. Karim still didn't look up, as if the world around him were nothing more than background noise. Ion offered the menu, but the billionaire slid it aside. "Your chef's special. Whatever takes the least time." "Would you prefer chicken or—" "I don't have the time," Karim interrupted. "You choose." Ion nodded again. "Right away, sir." Back in the kitchen, he relayed the order. The chef raised an eyebrow. "He looks like he hasn't eaten in 3 days. Stress, money, same old story." Ion half smiled and continued working, delivering dishes, clearing plates, pouring drinks, apologizing repeatedly for things that weren't his fault. By the time Karim's dish was prepared, Ion's feet already felt like they were burning. He served the meal with practiced grace. "Your dinner, sir. If there's anything else you need, please let me know." For a fraction of a second, Karim glanced up, as if noticing him for the first time. His eyes carried something. Tiredness, maybe, or something deeper. But just as quickly, he looked away and began eating. Ion moved to other tables, leaving the billionaire to his meal. Yet from the corner of his eye, he noticed something odd. Karim barely touched the food. He simply picked at it, more preoccupied with his phone than anything else. When he finally stood up, Ion saw him take out his wallet, a slim black one, no doubt worth more than Ion's monthly salary. Karim placed cash under the plate, nodded briefly, and walked away briskly, almost as if escaping something. Ion sighed in relief. One VIP down without incident. He hurried to the table, lifting the plate. And then he froze. Ion stared at the money. The billionaire had left a 0 rupee tip. Just the exact amount of the bill, nothing more. Ion exhaled slowly. Of all people, a billionaire leaving nothing felt almost insulting. Not because he expected a big tip, but because something about it stung. A man who could change someone's life with one generous moment chose instead to walk away without even a single extra rupee. He swallowed the knot in his throat, reminding himself not to take it personally. Maybe the man was having a bad day. Maybe he didn't believe in tipping. Maybe it just wasn't his job to care about the struggles of a single father working the night shift. As Ion lifted the plate completely, something fluttered beneath it. A folded note. He frowned, unfolding it slowly. The handwriting was sharp, clean, purposeful. "If you find this note, meet me outside in 5 minutes. Bring the bill." Ion blinked. His heart skipped. 5 minutes. His manager would kill him if he stepped outside during rush hour. But curiosity tugged at his chest like an invisible rope. He wiped his hands, took a deep breath, and slipped outside into the cold night air. Karim stood near a black luxury car, hands in pockets, staring at the sky as if it held answers. When he heard footsteps, he turned. "You found the note," he said. "Yes, sir," Ion replied cautiously. You asked me to bring the bill. Right, hand it over. I undid. Kareem took it, checked it, then folded it into his jacket sleeve. You're a single father, he stated, not asked. Ian blinked. How do you were on the phone earlier. Kareem interrupted again. I overheard you telling your son you'd bring milk, and that you would be home soon. Ian nodded, embarrassed. Sorry if I disturbed. It didn't disturb me. Kareem's voice was quieter now. It reminded me of someone. Ian stood still. The night breeze brushed past them, carrying the faint sounds of traffic. Kareem continued, I left you a 0 tip because I didn't want your manager to claim it. Restaurants usually take a percentage from tips, or they distribute them unfairly. Correct? Ian hesitated. Sometimes, yes. Your manager doesn't like you, Kareem said plainly. I saw how he talked to you. Ian looked down. He has high standards. No, he enjoys power. Kareem exhaled slowly. Men like that remind me of who I used to be. Ian wasn't sure what to say. Kareem reached into his coat pocket. I didn't leave a tip under the plate. He paused, looking him directly in the eyes, because I didn't want what I'm about to give you stolen. Ian's breath caught when he saw the envelope. It was thick, very thick, sir. What is this? Kareem held it out. It's not charity if that's what you're thinking. It's an investment. In me. Ian whispered. In your life. The billionaire corrected. In your son's future. Ian's hand trembled as he accepted the envelope. His fingers brushed the edge of what felt unmistakably like a large sum of cash. But, why me? Kareem looked away, jaw tightening. Because years ago, I was in your shoes, except I didn't have a child to fight for. I had a mother whose hospital bills I couldn't pay. I worked as a waiter, like you, while billionaires left without tipping or even looking at me. His voice hollowed. But one man saw my struggle. He didn't give me sympathy. He gave me a chance. Ian felt his throat tighten. And you want to return it. I want to pass it on, Kareem corrected softly. The world doesn't give men like us many openings. Sometimes someone has to carve one for you. Ian didn't realize tears had formed until the cold air stung his eyes. I don't know how to repay. You won't repay me. Kareem's voice firmed. But you'll take this chance seriously. Use the money for your son, for your own dreams, not for luxuries, not for fantasy, for real change. Ian nodded repeatedly, swallowing hard. I will, sir. And there's one more thing. Ian looked up. I need a reliable assistant for a new branch of my company. Kareem said, someone observant, patient, hardworking. You're all three. I watched you handle every unreasonable customer tonight. Ian's mouth fell open. You want to hire me, if you're willing, sir. I don't have a degree. I didn't ask for one. Ian blinked fast. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Kareem offered a faint smile, the first one Ian had seen from him. Be at my office at 9 tomorrow morning, and don't worry about your manager. I'll handle him. Ian laughed softly, overwhelmed. Thank you, sir. Kareem opened his car door, paused, and said quietly, one more thing. Don't ever think your kindness goes unnoticed. The world sees it, even when it pretends not to. With that, the billionaire drove away, leaving Ian standing in the cold, holding an envelope that suddenly felt like hope. But the night was not over. As Ian walked back to the restaurant, he opened the envelope. Inside was a stack of money thick enough to pay 3 months of rent, school supplies, groceries, and maybe even Zayn's long requested cricket kit. But there was also another note. One day, when you're able, help someone the way I helped you. That is the only repayment I ask. Ian pressed the note to his chest. The next morning, he showed up at the billionaire's glass-walled office, nervous but determined. Kareem greeted him, introduced him to the team, and showed him his new workspace. For the first time in years, Ian felt he wasn't invisible anymore. The job came with training, monthly incentives, and flexibility for his son. Within weeks, his performance impressed the whole department. Within months, he became a key coordinator. His confidence grew, his savings grew, his son's life transformed. But the real twist came a year later. A young delivery boy walked into the office, soaked in rain, apologizing because he had misunderstood an address. Ion noticed the bruises on his knuckles, the fear in his eyes, and the way the boy flinched whenever spoken to. Something about him reminded Ion of himself, so he offered the boy a chair, a glass of water, a soft question, "Are you okay?" The boy broke down. He was working 3 jobs to support his sick sister. He hadn't eaten all day. He didn't know how to continue. Ion listened. Then he opened his drawer. Inside was a carefully saved envelope, the same envelope Kareem had given him. Ion had kept it as a reminder, always filled with money he set aside every month, waiting for the right moment. He handed it to the boy, the same way it had once been handed to him. The boy's eyes widened in disbelief. I can't take this," he said. "Yes, you can," Ion replied gently, "and one day, when you're able, pass it on to someone else." As the boy left, tears mixing with the rain, Ion felt something shift in his chest, a warmth, a completion, a full circle. Later that evening, Kareem entered Ion's office quietly. "I saw what you did," he said. Ion smiled. "You asked me to repay only one way, and you did," Kareem said, pride softening his gaze. "You've become more than an employee. You've become a man who changes lives." Ion felt the words settle deep within him, grounding him. A billionaire had once left a 0 rupee tip, but a single dad had found something worth more than money, a chance, a path, a purpose, and a note that rewrote the story of his life. Months passed, and Ion's life began to settle into a rhythm he had never known before. His mornings started with breakfast with Zayn, something he had only dreamed of when he was rushing between shifts. They would walk to school together, sharing jokes and silly conversations that Ion once felt too tired to enjoy. Then he would take the bus to the office, no longer rushing, no longer dragging his exhaustion behind him like a shadow. Kareem's company grew, but so did Ion. He learned quickly, faster than he thought possible. He could now draft reports, organize schedules, communicate with clients, and even handle small negotiations. He surprised himself every day. One evening, Kareem called him into his office. "Close the door," he said. Ion did. "Yes, sir." Kareem leaned back, arms crossed, studying him. "How long have you been with us?" "A little over a year, sir." "And in that time, you've completed every project ahead of schedule." "I try to give my best." "No," Kareem interrupted. "You do more than your best. You take work home, you help your colleagues without being asked, and you somehow manage to be a present father at the same time." Ion felt heat rise to his cheeks. "Thank you, sir." Kareem slid a file across the table. "I want you to lead this." Ion stared at the file, stunned. "Lead the entire project?" "Yes, it's a new partnership with a global firm. You'll coordinate directly with them." "Sir, I can do the work, but leading—" He hesitated. "What if I make a mistake?" Kareem leaned forward. "Then you learn from it. That's how I built everything I have. Failure isn't the enemy. Fear is." Ion looked at the file again. "Okay, I'll do it." Thinking of how far he'd come gave him courage. Thinking of his son gave him strength. The next 2 months were intense. Meetings, proposals, video conferences, deadlines. Ion handled it all. He faced challenges, misunderstandings, sudden changes, but he adapted every time. His team respected him. The global firm praised him. Even Kareem, who rarely gave compliments, acknowledged him in a full staff meeting. One evening, when the office had nearly emptied, Ion was sorting documents when the elevator doors opened behind him. He didn't look up at first, but then he heard a familiar voice. "You work too much." Ion turned and froze, standing there with her hair tied neatly, wearing an elegant pastel outfit, carrying a laptop bag, was a woman he hadn't seen in years. Someone whose absence had shaped much of his pain without ever explaining why. Sarah, his ex-wife, Zayn's mother. He stood up slowly. "You're back." She stepped forward, her face soft but unsure. "I heard you work here." "How?" "My cousin applied here and said your name came up on the employee roster." She took a breath. "I needed to see you." Ion swallowed. "Why now?" "Because when she left, she didn't leave a note, a reason, or even a goodbye to her own son. She simply walked out one morning and didn't return." Sarah's eyes lowered. "I wasn't well, Ion. I didn't know who I was anymore. I felt like a failure." As a mother, as a wife, I thought. Maybe you two would be better off without me. Ion inhaled slowly, steadying himself. You could have told me. I was scared, she whispered. He rubbed his forehead. Zayn cried for you for months. Her face crumpled. I know, and that guilt has eaten me every day. Ion let silence settle. He thought about the man he once was, angry, struggling, exhausted. Then he thought about the man he had become, stable, hopeful, stronger. Why are you here now? He finally asked. She met his eyes. Because I want to fix things. I want to be in Zayn's life again, and, if possible, I want to apologize to you properly. Ion took a long breath. You can see him. Her eyes brightened. Really? He's your son, Ion said. But don't expect him to accept you right away, and don't hurt him again. I won't, she whispered. Before she left, she added, I've been working on myself. Therapy, stability, a job. I'm not asking for anything more than a chance to be his mother again. Ion nodded. We'll take it one step at a time. The following Sunday, Sarah met Zayn at a small park. Ion watched from a distance as his son hesitated at first, then slowly approached her. They talked. They laughed softly. They cried. Ion felt pain and relief mix inside him like a storm. Over the next few weeks, Sarah visited regularly, sometimes for an hour, sometimes for longer. She helped him with homework, brought him small gifts, listened to him talk about school, cricket, and dreams. But she never tried to take Ion's place. She always respected the space. One evening, after she dropped Zayn back home, she lingered at the door. You're doing an incredible job raising him, she said quietly. Ion looked at his sleeping son in the next room. He gives me purpose, she nodded. And Kareem, he really changed your life. Ion smiled softly. He didn't just give me a job. He showed me what belief looks like. Sarah took a breath. Do you think there's a chance for us? Not now, but someday? Ion exhaled. I don't know. I'm not the man I used to be, and you're not the woman you were. Maybe that's good. Maybe it's too late. Maybe it's too early. His voice stayed calm. But Zayn comes first. She nodded with understanding, though disappointment flickered in her eyes. Life continued. Work grew busier. Zayn grew taller. Sarah became a quieter, steadier presence. Then came the day that changed everything. The global partners invited Ion and Kareem to a huge corporate event, one of the largest business gatherings in the region. Business leaders, CEO, diplomats, and investors filled the glass-walled auditorium. Ion had never stepped into such a world before. His suit was new but affordable. His hands trembled slightly as he adjusted his tie. Kareem noticed. Nervous? He asked. A little. You'll be fine. Inside the hall, people greeted Kareem with respect. Cameras flashed. Reporters waited. Then, unexpectedly, Kareem placed a firm hand on Ion's shoulder and said loudly enough for those around them to hear, This is the man behind our new partnership. He's been exceptional. Ion felt his chest tighten with pride. But then from the side, someone watched the moment with narrowed eyes. The CEO of the partner company, Altaf Malik, a sharp man known for his cunning more than his kindness. He approached Kareem first. I hear you've given a lot of responsibility to your assistant. He earned it. Kareem replied. Altaf's smirk was thin. Or maybe you're too trusting. Ion sensed something off. Kareem did too. What are you implying? Kareem asked. Altaf pulled out a tablet and showed them a screenshot. Your assistant mistakenly sent the wrong document earlier today. It contained confidential numbers. Ion's heart dropped. What? I know. I double-checked everything. Altaf tapped the screen. It came from your email, signed by you. Kareem turned to Ion. Did you send this? No. Ion said firmly, Sir, I swear I didn't. Altaf crossed his arms. Then who did? Ion's mind raced. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. He took a closer look at the image. Sir, this is not my signature. My emails have a fixed format footer. This one doesn't. Kareem leaned in. He's right. Ion pointed again. And the timestamp. I wasn't even at my desk. I was in the meeting with the training team. Check the security logs. A small crowd gathered. Altaf's smirk faltered. Kareem turned to the event staff. Bring security footage, now. Within minutes, footage appeared on a large tablet from the office cameras. A man entered Ion's office, not Ion, a tall intern hired by Altaf's team. one who had always looked at Ion with resentment. One who apparently saw the opportunity to sabotage him. The footage showed the intern opening Ion's laptop, typing quickly, and sending the email. Gasps filled the air. Altaf's face burned red. "You planted him," Kareem said coldly, "to break the partnership and take full control." Altaf tried to speak, but Kareem cut him off. "Leave this event and expect legal action." Security escorted Altaf out in humiliation. Ion stood still, overwhelmed. "Sir, thank you for believing me." Kareem turned to him, his expression softening. "I believed you because you earned trust every single day. Your character speaks louder than evidence." Ion felt emotion swell in his chest. As the event continued, people approached him with admiration. Some congratulated him. Others asked for his insights. For the first time in his life, he wasn't invisible in a crowd. He belonged. When the event ended, Kareem said, "You handled today with strength." Ion shook his head lightly. "I just told the truth. That's more than most people do," Kareem said. Then, after a moment, "Ion, I want you to run the new branch as manager." Ion froze. "Manager, sir. That's a big step," Kareem finished. "But you're ready." Ion thought of his son, his past, his struggles, and every moment that led him here. "I'll accept it," he said, voice steady. Kareem smiled. "Good. Oh, and Ion." "Yes, sir." "You remember the note I gave you, the one about helping someone one day?" "Yes." "You've passed that lesson far more beautifully than I ever expected." Ion felt his throat tighten. After the event, he returned home. Zayn ran to him. Sarah stood behind him, smiling slightly. "How was it?" she asked. Ion picked up his son, kissed his forehead, and whispered, "Better than I ever dreamed." Something shifted that night. Zayn fell asleep on the couch. Sarah helped Ion bring in leftovers from the event. As she handed him a small container, she said softly, "You've changed." Ion looked at her. "So have you. Do you think?" She whispered, "That maybe there's still a place for me in your story." Ion looked around, at the home, at the boy he loved more than anything, at the life he had built from nothing, and he realized something. Maybe the future didn't have to be decided tonight. Maybe stories could be rewritten. Slowly, patiently, one chapter at a time. For now, he simply said, "Let's continue being good parents. The rest, we'll discover." She smiled with relief. Outside, the city lights shimmered, bright, distant, hopeful. Ion stood by the window, holding the note Kareem had given him long ago, the note that had changed his life. He kept it framed now, right above his desk, and every day he looked at it and remembered. A billionaire once left a 0-rupee tip. But the real tip had been hidden beneath the plate, a chance, a promise, a seed of change, and that change had grown into a life he never thought he deserved, a life he had finally earned.